Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and with us today, we have Kathleen Brown. Hi, Kathleen.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I'm going to read your bio, and then I'm going to ask you just to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and we'll get into it. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Awesome. All right. So Kathleen Brown. Kathleen is the founder and CEO of bud-dee, a community-powered wellness platform for cancer thrivers to connect and heal. I love that, thrivers. That's amazing. She created the platform after nearly 25 years navigating the, I'm just going to say it, fucker, survivor without a get well guidebook. So I want to talk a little bit about that, Kathleen, about your journey and stuff like that. Prior to founding bud-dee, Kathleen raised millions of dollars for cancer research and development and treatment while serving as a patient advocate to thousands. She enjoyed 15 years of success as a corporate sales and development leader for Disney. I love that. Comcast and Jude after graduating from the University of Illinois-Urbana, Champaign and Northwestern University. So welcome to the show. I'm so excited.
Thank you. You made my bio sound a lot more exciting than it actually feels.
No, I love it. You've got Disney in there. You've got St. Jude in there. You're like this massive, you're like a massive powerhouse. So let's tell us a little bit about who you are, Kathleen.
Yeah, sure. So, the background of, I guess, where I came to form this company is all based on my experience as a cancer survivor, cancer thriver. I know people identify with lots of different things, but it's really informed like who I am, and that, the types of opportunities that I've always sought out have been because I'm living literally like it could be my last day all the time. And so I've, my lifelong dream had honestly been to work for Disney and ESPN. I was a just insane sports fan growing up. And so that was the goal that I had been chasing. And then I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 13 years old, and my whole life changed. It gave me a lot of perspective. I think it made me, a much more resilient and determined person. But I never gave up on that goal to work for Disney and for ESPN. And it kind of came in a roundabout way. I originally wanted to be a newscaster. I wanted to actually be the one that was, calling the games and or doing color commentary. And as it turned out, I found an opportunity in media, in ad sales, right out of college. And it was very fulfilling in a lot of ways. And I think honestly, it was because of the team that I got to work with and the leaders that I worked for. I worked for Disney and ESPN for about 8 years, and just, it was like a family to me, but I also felt like it was very safe and I wasn't challenging myself enough. And based on my experience, having gone through cancer treatment, I had been fundraising for St. Jude all of that time as a volunteer in many different capacities. I felt like I wanted more. I wanted to be able to dedicate more of my time to fundraising. And I really enjoyed that sort of event planning part of the job. And so I left ESPN. I gave everything up in 2014 to be a regional director for St. Jude, which is overseeing over 100 Midwest fundraising events, and just an incredible team that just worked relentlessly to raise, our team raised over $10 million every year for the hospital. But what I also found is that job is, I don't want to say it's thankless, but you just work round the clock and you give up everything for the job. And it felt like the pendulum swung so far to the other side of, I felt like I had no life outside of fundraising. So after about a year in that role, I moved into a corporate development role, which to me was like the perfect blend of my background in ad sales and corporate sales to corporate development. And so instead of selling, ESPN spots and dots on radio, TV, and online, I was selling St. Jude, whether that was an event, an employee engagement campaign, some type of in-store promotional campaign. And I just loved it. Like to me, like that was the greatest job I ever had, because it was a blend of just doing something I was so passionate about, but working with just the most incredible team and for the greatest leaders. But I did something nuts last year, and I kind of had like, so the name of my company is Buddy. And the meaning behind the name buddhi is to be awake, like to understand, to know. And I very much feel like cancer can be an awakening for people, whether you are a patient, you're a caregiver, you love someone that's been diagnosed with cancer. That can be a wake up call for a lot of people that realize like life is too short and we're not promised another day. And like, how can we take best care of ourselves? Well, what happened to me is, many survivors experience long-term side effects. And I had been experiencing many of them over the years. And I thought my cancer had returned. I had a whole bunch of symptoms that were causing like just a whole bunch of issues. But one of them was like, I was seeing stars and like feeling like blacking out and just had no energy. I like couldn't get out of bed. So I had gone to a bunch of different tests or doctors for tests to figure out what was going on. And when I got the all clear that it wasn't cancer at the start of last year, and that it was just digestive issues that had just been compounded for years and years, likely because of radiation and chemo treatment, I thought, why doesn't the entire cancer community have these kind of resources? And how can I be a vehicle to connect people to these resources? So I started thinking about it for the first few months of last year.
It gave me goosebumps.
Oh, the first few months of last year, it was just like an idea of like, why doesn't this exist? What could this platform look like? And I was polling lots of people to ask like about their experiences. And do you struggle with any of these different things? Or, when your loved one's diagnosed with cancer, what is the first thing that you do? Or, do you know what to say? And it seemed like most people don't know what to say. They kind of rush to, clamor to organize a meal train and start sending flowers. And I thought, what if we could switch that so that people understand that like those aren't really helpful to heal? Like the types of things that would be helpful is to know how to deal with like the mental stress and the physical stress associated with treatment, because that's not what a lot of hospitals are providing adequate support for. So yeah, I turned into an entrepreneur without even realizing. It just came from a pain point to know like, how can I serve people more and use my experience to really make the situation better for more people. So I started just the idea phase in the first few months of last year, and then went full steam ahead starting April 1st last year, and I haven't looked back.
Wow. So powerful. So tell us about what Buddy is so what is the company? What does it look like? How do I interact with it?
Yeah. So we just launched in beta at the end of February. So it's still super new. You could go onto the website and sign up, whether you have cancer, you're a survivor, or a loved one is. You can go and search to see if they have a registry created yet, or you could invite them to join Buddy or sign up yourself. And like I said, we're beta testing right now. And so next month, we're going to be launching the first feature, which is a content and a community section. So there's lots of different content topics that we've written based on feedback that we've been getting from the community and things that folks are struggling with. And so you can go and read an article and then sound off. So there's kind of like a private community where you can express yourself anonymously and talk about anything that you've been struggling with when it comes to healing and or ways that you've work through things to share your experience in service of someone else.
Yeah.
And then later on in the year, we are going to be launching our social tool, which is I think it's like a way cooler social update where you'll choose a Jiffy based on like how you're feeling, and then friends and family will know. They'll be given prompts of how to support you and like how to react to your update, because I think a lot of times folks just don't know what to say. And like, if you're going through cancer treatment, you don't want to just say today's another shitty day, or like I'm still not feeling well. And
Yeah.
so there's prompts not only for them to know how to express themselves authentically to get things off their chest, but for friends and family to not feel like every time they see an update, they're like, you've got this, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because that's it's not helpful to hear, and
it's old as well.
Exactly. So we've got lots of different prompts of how people can react and support one another and really like more deeply connect. And then later on in the summer, we are going to be releasing our marketplace feature, which is going to be sort of like a registry for people in treatment, where we're going to curate resources that can help heal your mind and body. So friends and family could underwrite things for you that will be helpful in the healing process.
So beautiful. So beautiful. I love all of it. I love the whole package of it and how it's going to help people. Talk to us a little bit, Kathleen, about, because we're in the pandemic right now. So what you're doing, pandemic or no pandemic, is a beautiful thing. So how does the pandemic, how does it change your mission, what you're doing? How does it reinforce it? Like, where are you at with everything with the pandemic?
Yeah, so it honestly blew up a lot of our priorities. Like I said, we launched February 24th in beta, and obviously the pandemic, really became widespread about 10 days later. And so we were originally going to go to market with all 3 features, and really our target was more friends and family, because they are underwriting the cost of, a subscription and or the gifts for patients and for survivors. And I thought, we can't charge anyone for anything right now. Like, there's so much economic uncertainty and it just doesn't feel right. And so we spent the next couple of weeks just listening, asking lots of questions, interacting in lots of different, support, like online support groups, checking all the Reddit threads, just trying to figure out, like, where can we serve right now? And what does that look like? And we got the idea from there. A lot of people were just freaking out about COVID and not knowing how to deal with just the mental stress and just the fear of contracting it, because the cancer community is among the most vulnerable to coronavirus. And so we decided to use our resources to invest in face masks for the community. And so I put out a call initially to our investors to find out, like, I don't want to use company resources to buy face masks. It's not necessarily tied to our traction goals, but would you be willing to throw in any money so we can purchase face masks? And we ended up in 5 days raising $4,700. And so we were able to purchase hundreds of face masks. And I thought, that's the way that we introduce ourselves to the community. We do not need to tell them, like, we're live, join. It's not about us. It's about serving the community right now. And we've put together a guide to, like, taking care of your mind during COVID, which you can find on our website. And so we thought, let's just start there. Let's aggregate the best resources to just be of service right now. And so that's led the rest of our strategy, is just launch with content first, give people this private, safe forum to express themselves. And we can worry about, all the other features later, but, like, this is how we serve best right now.
Yeah. Imagine a world right now, Kathleen, like, literally imagine a world where everybody got into that mindset of serving. I know. Right now.
Right. It would be a better place. And I think we are seeing that. To me, I mean, if there's any beauty that's come out of this situation, it's that, I think we're all a lot more similar than different. And I think, so many people are struggling right now. And to me, I see that as being the greatest opportunity. That I know not everyone is feeling like this is like a slowdown and a pause, because, we're home and we're feeling trapped, and many of us have kids and, families, and just, it's not like it's like a spa day for most of us, but I do feel like this sort of slowdown gives us an opportunity to pause and see, like, what do we want to, like, keep in our lives? What do we want to get rid of? Like, how do we Marie Kondo our lives in some capacity, and see, what's important to me as an individual, what's important to my family, what goals do I have for myself? And I think for many people, it's to deeply connect with each other and to not be so busy all the time, and to get rid of the small talk in favor of more deeply connecting, to find out, like, how are our loved ones doing, and, like, what can we do to support them, and or ask for support if we need it. I think we just, I don't wish that this situation happened, but I do think it's helping people get clear on, the life that we had 2 months ago maybe wasn't a great fit, and we were just in this hamster wheel, and it might not have been serving us well.
So much in what you just said there, so much. because I think, yeah, clarity, it's a time for us to slow down and get clarity, and the connection piece.
Yep.
So when we talk about connection, how are you seeing, because here's the thing, I'm hearing all over the place, you know, I can't see you eyeball to eyeball, so how do I get connection? People are really struggling with the connection, just even over Zoom. And it's an intention thing for me. I feel super connected to you right now. I've never met you in person, you know, so like it's this whole new paradigm of we can be connected online just like we can in person. And I think a lot of people are really like still in grief over some of the things that they're losing and stuff like that.
Yep.
What I love about your background, especially when we start talking about like Disney and St. Jude's and stuff like that, is you've had a lot of leadership development. And so, so taking everything that we've just talked about with the pandemic, and not everybody, you know, is thriving through this pandemic, what's your biggest leadership lesson for people right now? So what, you know, if I'm listening to this and I'm like, I get what you guys are saying, I just can't find my way out. What's your biggest leadership advice to them right now?
I think like looking back in my career, the leaders that I've worked for, that I've respected the most, have always led with heart first. And, you know, servant leadership, I think, is always going to win. And people that are willing to roll up their sleeves and get in the trenches with their teams and see how they can best serve. I've seen that in my own role right now. You know, I have a small but mighty team, and most of them are on the development side, and have tried to figure out, like, everyone's struggling right now. And I know we have aggressive goals that we have to hit, but at the same time, I want to make sure everyone's feeling supported and like they have what they need. And so whether that means taking a day off to yourself or recentering and like, you know, what you can do to take care of yourself. I know, I mean, I've had the privilege of working for so many great leaders, really only a couple crappy ones over the years. And most of them have just had the biggest hearts. And I remember the last boss that I worked for at St. Jude, there was one day that I was just really feeling like overwhelmed. I had like gotten sick and my dog was sick, and just felt like, oh my God, like it was like the scene in Dumb and Dumber where they're like, our pets' heads are falling off. And I remember calling him, and I was so nervous to ask him, like, if I could just take the afternoon off and just deal with a bunch of things. And and I was like, I don't know, cause I know my sick days haven't rolled over yet. And he was like, oh my gosh, KB, what are you talking about? Just take the day. And so, I'm not encouraging every leader to just go and like give their team like a bunch of days off, but to just remember, like, yeah, exactly. But maybe they need it. And maybe by giving them that time, like, I think it makes people more loyal and want to show up for you if you're really like, you're there for them and you want the best for them. So yeah, I would say just servant leadership and leading with heart first, and knowing, I mean, I had a conversation last week with a fellow entrepreneur, and he has a much bigger team than I do. And we were just talking about, this time being like, even though many people feel like they're slowing down, business owners, particularly small business owners, are feeling like we can't slow down because we can't lose momentum and we have to stay afloat, and there's still aggressive goals that we have to hit. So it's finding that balance of leading with heart and giving people that space to take care of themselves, but also knowing that means that we still have to stay on track and we're in this together, but we have the same goals, and that's that we're healthy and profitable, hopefully profitable.
Right. Exactly. So the name of the podcast is Your Leadership Legacy.
Yep.
So if we go down that route, what is the leadership legacy that you're aspiring to leave?
I would just hope that I am the leader that I've had the great fortune of learning from over the years, that, it's someone that cares. It's someone that is always going to put in, 110%. And, someone also that leads with vulnerability. I've seen it in many of the leaders that I've worked for over the years. And it's something that I haven't always led with. I think I've always, and I think this is probably just like a cancer survivor kind of way of coping, is like, everything's fine and I'm good. And like, I've got this armor up. But what I've realized is like, I can't heal, and it's not going to allow other people to feel seen if I don't, show up as my true self, and admit when I'm struggling, admit if I don't know something, and put in the work to learn how to do something. So I think, yeah, leader with heart, that always shows up and leads with vulnerability.
Yeah, you said something there that I want to dive into. You said armor. So, because I resonate with that. You know, I worked at corporate for my whole career, and you call it masks, call it armor. There's probably a million different names for it. And so, you know, if I ask for help, that means I'm weak. So I throw on this armor to act strong. If it, you know what I mean? So kind of going down the line where you were talking about, when a leader and vulnerability. So talk to us a little bit more about vulnerability and how, as a leader, how that makes a difference when we're vulnerable to our team.
Well, I look at it as, you know, perfect example, I guess, being that, you know, my small but mighty team now has been really struggling during this time, and felt one of my teammates had said to me, like, you know, you always have your shit together, and like, you know, you always seem so on, and you're working around the clock and this and that. And I said, that doesn't mean that I'm not struggling. That doesn't mean that I'm not taking good care of myself. And there's days that I'm crying. Like, so I live with my sister, and I think she usually sees the tough side of me. She's grown up with me, and, you know, I'm the big sister, but she's also seen me in fetal position and just, you know, like I was crying a lot in the beginning of this pandemic, just like, oh my God, like this is a company that I've put in over a year of work on, and I've dumped my entire savings, and I gave up my corporate career with salary and benefits to do this. And like, oh my God, what's next? So it was really important for me to let, you know, my teammate know, oh, you're just not seeing what's going on behind the scenes. I'm trying to be strong for you, but I hope that you know that this is not all sunshine and rainbows. And like, you know, so we had, you know, lots of tough conversations over the past 2 months, because she was really hurting, and she ended up taking some time to herself, and she just left the company a couple weeks ago, and it was with so much heart and so much respect, and we are still in touch regularly. But I said, you have to take care of yourself, and I want what's best for you, and do not worry about letting me down. I will be fine, but I want what's best for you, and like, I care for you first. So, you know, that's a you know, kind of a personal example, but it took me having to open up to her and say, it's okay to be struggling right now. And if you're struggling and you can't pull it together to show up 100% at work, then you take care of you, and I'll still be here, and I would welcome you back with open arms in whatever capacity. But
yeah, that's,
you know,
beautiful.
I don't know. So
I think that's one of the best things that's going to come out of this pandemic, because it was like, I remember in my past, if I worked 60 hours a week, it was a badge of honor. Like 60, 70 hours a week. I got 4 hours of sleep a night. Woohoo. Like that. It was like this stupid badge of honor that we wore. And again, I don't think it's like that so much today, but maybe I'm going to set the intention that what this pandemic will do is, as we move through it and out of it, that we really start to understand the difference between self-care and burnout, right? Like, you know, we get to start taking care of ourselves as individuals, because when we're stronger individuals, we're stronger on that team at work. And I think maybe that's a huge lesson that's going to come out of this, which is cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's, you know, I had heard over the years, you know, that people would say like, work smarter, not harder. And I didn't really understand what that meant until I was an entrepreneur, because like you, it was conditioned to, you know, you work long hours. And, you know, I, for many years had been the single one, and was like, I don't care how many hours I put in. Like, I want to be the sales leader. I want to be, you know, at the top of the list when it comes for promotions or pay or whatever. And I realized like, that didn't make me happy. Having like the years that I made the most money. Yeah. I went on cool trips and like had nice clothes, but like, what did that lead to in the long run? Like, I literally haven't had a paycheck in over a year now, and I'm as happy as I've ever been. Granted, my Disney 401k is going to run out at some point, but it's, I'm trying to fill my cup always with things that fill me up and bring me joy in whatever capacity. And so I'm trying to remember that every day, and on the hard days, what is my why? Why am I showing up, and who am I showing up for?
Yeah. Where can people find you?
So they can visit the website at hibuddy.com. So it's HIBUDDHI.com, or social media across every platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. It's at HiBuddy. So it's at HIBUDDHI.
Wonderful. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. You are like this amazing bright light. I love what you're doing for cancer thrivers. I love that instead of survivors. That's amazing.
Yes.
So I love your whole platform. I love what you're up to. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing in the world. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Tina. It was such a pleasure to be on here and to get to meet you virtually, for hearing so much about you. It was good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys, that ends this episode of Your Leadership Legacy. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye.
My name is Tina Paulus-Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.